just move on. You're great.
The Twins are currently 2.5 games out of the division-leading White Sox in the American League Central. Yeah. I mean, they're not – if you're thinking that the Twins are going to dump Joe Ryan, are going to ask Byron Buxton for a trade,
that's for sure not happening.
No way. No way. And we'll see if fans start showing up in larger numbers, right? Because it's some fun baseball. It just is. And bullpen weakness, yes.
Yeah, there's no question there's bullpen weakness, but what you also love to see with this team is even if they get down a few runs, they're not out of it by a long shot. This offense will keep swinging the sticks and keep scoring runs.
It's surprising.
It's fun. It's fun to watch, and yeah, this team should be in it. This is a team that should be buying come trade deadline. You know, we're not going to add massive pieces. We're not going to go out and get a Tariq Skubal or anything like that. But can you get some bullpen help? Could you get another right-handed bat? Yeah, you could do those things. Make some moves on the periphery and solidify this lineup. And then you hope you get some people back off the injured list and see what happens.
We have a lot to talk about today on Drive Time. If you exist on social media at all, have seen that today was the drop of the new fair foods for the Minnesota State Fair. Yeah, I know. It's not like anyone has posted any sort of social media videos or anybody who's written any trolly kind of food critic style. I would never. We're going to speak with one of the new vendors at the State Fair, a young guy who grew up here in Minnesota and now gets to have his brand at the Minnesota State Fair. We'll do that at 4:35. What I want to talk about right now is the biggest issue that's going to affect the way you vote come election time. And maybe by come election time, I'm talking about right now. With the primary elections going on, early voting in effect. But we've got a primary coming up in August. We have a general coming up in November. And what politicians are saying when they're knocking on doors is there are two things people are talking about. And I want you to pick a side. Pick an issue. Is fraud in Minnesota going to be your big issue when it comes time to vote? Or is it the fallout from the immigration surge, Operation Metro Surge? 651-461-9226. Because these are the issues, right? And it's I have an answer. Dan probably has an answer as to which issue is going to be a bigger factor come election day. For me, it's fraud. It is fraud. Who do I trust to clean things up and prevent fraud in the state of Minnesota? That is my number one issue. I think for some, I know for some, people are looking for someone who's going to fight and stand up to another potential Operation Metro Surge. I suppose for me, I'm running a bit of a calculus there that the odds of a repeat of what happened here in Minnesota are low. And the odds of having fraud take advantage of the generosity of Minnesotans, I would say, are higher. And after the last, 6 years of feeling like government in Minnesota was not that interested in the details of governing, I want competence. I want professionalism. And that is more important to me than political ideology. Frankly, it's more important to me than the politics of the people that I'm voting for, period. Who do I trust to safeguard and restore trust in our state? That's where I'm at. How about you? 651-461-9226. Cindy is with us. Cindy, first of all, do you agree that these are probably the big two issues for most voters today?
Yes, I do agree with that.
Yeah. Which one is going to resonate more for you? Which is the bigger issue?
Immigration.
Tell me why.
I feel that right now, with Trump in office, the Republican Party is just following along with whatever it is that he wants. He wants to be heavy on immigration. I was not supportive of any of the tactics that ICE used on Minnesota residents. To me, hurting people, removing them from their families, sending them to countries they've never been to is much more, the humanity of it is much more important to me than people committing fraud.
Yeah.
Only because there is fraud going on in Republican states, and I don't see anything about on the news or anywhere else. It's probably on there. I just haven't seen it about fraud in other states. I just don't see it as big as they've expanded it and used it as a talking point in Minnesota. I feel that's what it is a talking point. But I think pulling people away, the inhumanity, that's more important to me than a talking point.
What would a politician, what are you looking for, Cindy? Like, what do you want to hear from a politician to give you confidence that they would prevent something like this from happening again?
I want to hear that they're going to do what they say they're going to do, not make a bunch of promises and then lie to the people and not make good on the promises that they make. I want them to be genuine and honest and forthright. When you ask them a question, I want a specific answer to that question, not the deflect and move on and say something that's completely different and talk about something else. I don't want that deflection. I want an honest, forthright answer, even if it's not one that I don't want to hear. I'd rather have an honest answer that I don't want to hear than someone be dishonest with me and tell me what I want to hear.
Cindy, you and I are cut from the same cloth on that one. Let me tell you, no doubt. Give me the straight answer. Give me how you really feel about things, not how you think it's going to be play best with the audience. I really want to know what you're planning. I do want to hear more specifics when we hear people say, I'm going to fight President Trump. Okay. Well, if you're in the majority, maybe you have some power, but what do you mean? Like, what is your plan? And then what is your forward-looking plan too, right? Like just saying I'm going to fight on immigration. I would like to know, what is the fix? What is the solution? How do we make it so we don't have so many people in this limbo state where we have people now, people who would be terrific citizens of this country? I'd like to get them to be citizens,
I would like to see that. I would like to see there be, and I don't know how it happens, but get to be more immigration judges. So some of these people, some of these people have been waiting 30 years to get in front of an immigration judge, and they've done nothing wrong in those 30 years except come here illegally to have a better way of life. And they haven't done anything wrong, and they've got families, and children are here, and they were born here, and yet they're getting picked up and thrown away to another country and have to figure it out for themselves. I don't agree with that, and I want to hear how somebody is going to fix that.
Cindy, thank you. Appreciate the call. Very good. 651-461-9226. Immigration or fraud is sort of the question. And I think it's the question a lot of people are going to be faced with when they vote. Now, a lot of people are just voting. You're voting Republican or you're voting Democrat, and that's it. But I think there are many of us who do want to analyze, especially in the primary level, like who do you trust on these issues? Milt is in Minneapolis. Milt, thanks for listening. Which one of these issues is bigger for you?
Fraud. I live in Minneapolis and Atlanta, but only Atlanta like 2 to 3 months, but most of the time Minneapolis.
Sounds kind of shady to me, Milt. Sounds a little fraudulent.
Right. I'm a military veteran. I haven't done anything goofy in my whole life. Yeah. Honorable discharge and
missed out. You missed out. It seems there was money for the taking around here. That's for sure. No, Go ahead. Talk a little bit more about why that's your issue.
All right. Here we have a guy that's an Army officer and a businessman, and I don't think he's getting much play. And that would be the cure for Minnesota, because this stuff the last 6 years hasn't worked. And people can see it. And this fraud is the number one issue by far. And it doesn't make sense to lose our tax money to just total nonsense.
What do you want to see that would give you some reassurance that somebody would be competent to root out the fraud?
I just told you. You know who I'm talking about, Kendall Qualls.
Oh, yeah.
And Tafoya would be great, too, because, here's what we've had just isn't working. Between Walz, Omar, this whole, clan of, why would we want to recycle this stuff? It doesn't work.
Do you trust Kendall Qualls more than Lisa Dameth on the fraud issue?
I kind of do, because he's an Army officer and he's a businessman. And when you listen to him, I mean, I don't think he's ever done anything goofy in his life. They're not going to find the Graham Platner stuff.
Right.
Once you're an officer, you're pretty much on the ticket, on being a good human.
Thanks, Milt. I appreciate it. I think that question of which issue resonates more, and really the way you're seeing it, I think the way we're going to hear it from callers is if you're a Republican, you care about fraud. If you're a Democrat, you care about immigration. But the Star Tribune had a story this morning that was quoting Democrat legislators knocking on the door. And guess what? Democrats in Democratic districts are saying, I am worried about the fraud. So for me, when I look at the Michelle Tafoya race, the Senate race, fraud is not my number one concern for a U.S. senator. It just is not something that is that important to me. For a governor, it is. For a governor, it's a huge issue. For a state legislator, absolutely. For a U.S. senator, for me, I don't know. But am I parsing this too much where the regular voter isn't? I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, too, when you look at that, because I think you're right in the sense that, there's less that the federal government can do for some of these issues that maybe somebody like Michelle Tafoya is focusing on. And yet you're speaking to Minnesota voters, right? So if Minnesota voters care more about fraud than they do about immigration, are you doing your job as a Senate candidate, speaking to the issues that they care about, or are you doing your job to say, well, actually, these are the issues I can actually do something about? I don't know. That's kind of a difficult hair to split, isn't it?
What I was picking up from our last caller, and look, if you break down the logic of this to say that I trust Michelle Tafoya when it comes to fraud, I mean, Michelle Tafoya, what gives you a reason to trust her on that other than she's an outsider?
Well, she doesn't have the political track record, which is both a good and a bad thing.
That's
right?
why I'm just saying I don't know that I would affirmatively trust her.
There's no baggage there, but there's also no record there. So you don't know.
What fraud have you rooted out before? I don't know. To me, not that I'm saying I'm not going to vote for Michelle Tafoya. I'm just saying that is not I don't look at that. I do think that it'll be interesting if Minnesota voters kind of go down the throw all the bums out approach, which sometimes you see in a midterm, and especially considering what's happened in this state, I could see people on the left and on the right. On the left, you're saying, look, what did we do to stop the Trump administration from coming here and terrorizing the city of Minneapolis? For the right, you say, we've had all of this fraud and nobody lost their job.
You're right. I mean, there's certainly
third party, man. You'd have a window, wouldn't you?
Or, I mean, it just throws everything into chaos, right? Yeah. Because, you can make arguments for both sides. And if it does just become a throw the bums out thing, you don't know how this is going to shake out.
Texter saying, Jason, fraud is bad, but money can be replaced. How are you going to replace Renee Good and Alex Preddy? Immigration, and federal government overreach is the big issue for that texter. Another texter says, Jason, I'm in your camp. I'm way more concerned about fraud. I also believe the wind is out of the sails about immigration issues here. I would say I don't think the wind is out of the sail of those. I think especially, and you're going to see this in the Angie Craig, Peggy Flanagan race, that immigration is going to be the number one issue. Will that last through November? Will that affect a general voter? I don't know. At this point, honestly, I'm just voting for the candidate that's closest to the political center and not a whack job, says the texter. Tell me who those candidates are. I appreciate knowing. Continental Diamond Time is 3:59. ABC and Laura. News coming up.
Anywhere you are, everywhere it matters. News Talk 830 WCCO 1029 HD2 Minneapolis, St. Paul. Streaming live on the free Odyssey app.
Mackenzie Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. The U.S. and Iran have renewed strikes, the U.S. targeting Iran's military sites after Iran fired on ships in the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran targeting U.S. military installations in the region. ABC's Martha Raddatz has the latest.
What is clear is that this war that the president said would last 4 weeks is now in its 5th month, with strikes resuming, the ceasefire declared dead, no deal on eliminating Iran's nuclear program, and Iran continuing its threats, saying America still hasn't learned that bullying and breaking promises are no longer cost-free.
The conflict has led to fewer ships moving through the strait, a disruption that could impact oil and gas prices. In Utah, a pretrial hearing continues for Tyler Robinson, the man charged in the murder of conservative influencer Charlie Kirk. Yesterday, there was a debate over video that allegedly includes Tyler Robinson's former roommate and romantic partner, Lance Twiggs. A judge ordered parts of the video be edited out, and other portions were played in court today. Here's ABC's Alex Stone.
This is, based on everything that they have been fighting over for the last 24 hours or so, of the defense wanting more blacked out. Erica Kirk's attorney saying, put it all out there, let the public see it, let the world know how Charlie died, and prosecutors trying to get it out there that this was a lot that the judge cleared to be broadcast publicly and for everybody to hear.
Defense attorneys argued allowing the video of a so-called confession would influence a future jury pool. U.S. Olympian David Hearn appeared in court today pleading not guilty to a felony count for allegedly vandalizing the pool lining of the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. Fans are remembering Bonnie Tyler. She died in Portugal after being hospitalized with an illness. The singer is best known for her 80s hit, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Bonnie Tyler was 75. You're listening to ABC News.
Minnesota's trusted voice every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Partly cloudy, 83 degrees at 4:02. I'm Laura Oakes. More details regarding the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old boy at a Brooklyn Park over the 4th of July weekend. Charging documents say the 17-year-old suspect is a gang member. The shooting took place during a gathering of about 50 young people, and the victim was shot in the head. Right now, the suspect is charged with gun possession. The city of St. Paul planning to close all homeless encampments beginning in August. WCCO's Ari Bergeron visited the encampment at Pig's Eye Park, where around 100 people will be affected.
The residents at the encampment are angry.
Why aren't people with resources coming down here with forms and helping people fill out those forms? Or if they have legal problems, like getting that cleared up to help them elevate and get out of this place.
They're scared.
Yeah, for sure.
Their future uncertain.
I honestly don't know where we're all going to go.
But there are people like Ace trying to help.
They need mental health services, whether they need therapy services, whether they need social, whether they need housing, whether they need detox, inpatient, outpatient. We are doing everything that we can. We are working day in, day out, without pay, without, you know what I'm saying, without real good recognition. And we're trying to work on these people.
In St. Paul, Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Another drop in blood supplies is forcing Memorial Blood Centers to declare its second blood emergency of the summer.
As far as I know, it's completely unprecedented in the history of our blood center.
Spokesperson Jennifer Cillizza says the region's blood supply has dipped below a 2-day inventory due to higher than normal trauma patients, statewide storms, and high temperatures. History last night in the WNBA as Minnesota Lynx head coach Cheryl Reeve broke the league's record for regular season wins. Last night's 86-80 win over Connecticut gave Reeve her 380th career win.
I'm excited for the team that we won. We had to really gut it out. It wasn't pretty. We had to find a way. And again, just glad it's over.
The Lynx are off today and tomorrow before hosting the New York Liberty at noon on Saturday. 36 new foods and 9 new vendors will make their debut this summer at the Great Minnesota Get Together. One of those new vendors includes the first new building built at the fair since 2018, the Summer Lakes Boathouse. Food and beverage manager Danielle Dellinger.
They came out with a top-notch proposal with a Lake Minnesota theme with their cocktails and mocktails. They have been a vendor at the fair before, just serving their drinks, but now they're also going to be serving food. We're absolutely thrilled to be launching this at the 2026 Minnesota State Fair.
As for those new foods, how does pickle pie or a surf and turf burger grab you? You can find a complete list of the fair's new foods on our
Lobster on a
website.
burger. What do you think about lobster on a burger, Laura?
I think I'd like lobster just fine by itself. We don't need to put everything on a burger. We don't need peanut butter on a burger.
I know we had that last year.
We don't. Yeah. What else? Jelly. Was that a peanut butter and jelly burger?
Uncrustable peanut butter and jelly. Yeah.
Yeah.
The lobster I did have from that same vendor, lobster on French fries last year.
Yeah.
Loaded fries with lobster. It's
I
all
could-
right.
that could
It's
be-
just
yeah.
like I don't know that lobster is what I want at the state fair.
No.
You know?
It's not. It's not
Yeah.
a fair food.
We'll have at 4:30 another one of the new vendors, the Saturday Dumpling
Okay.
Company, is going to be with us on the show. So
Wonderful. It's 4:05 on WCCO.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow for South 35E as you come down from Victoria Street toward the work zone and Shepherd Road. Give yourself an extra 10 to 15. West 94 is jammed up. Carmichael Road to the St. Croix River. West 694. Slowdowns place Matterhorn to Highway 252. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And with that, here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A big warming trend in this forecast. Partly cloudy, will fall back to 67 tonight. Partly cloudy again tomorrow. Should be warmer with a high up near 87. A few scattered showers are possible well northwest of the Twin Cities. This weekend, we cook. Mostly sunny and 90 on Saturday, up into the 90s Sunday. Our highs will stay up there deep into next week.
Partly cloudy right now, 83 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Because weather here can turn on you faster than gas station sushi. News Talk 830 WCCO. You're thinking about it. Jason's talking about it. There are no breaks on bold takes here. Buckle up. This is Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington. Now, live from Minnesota's biggest microphone, here's Jason DeRusha.
I'm just fascinated by how Dan Cook lives his life. So many aspects to this that I have questions about, and maybe you can help us as well. Welcome to Drive Time. It is Thursday, July 9th. So, yeah, Dan did something today that I just found out about, and it is inconceivable to me that this would be a smart choice. Tell everybody what you did.
So I turned off my air conditioner before I left the apartment today because the dew point is finally dropping down to levels that don't feel like the Burmese jungle out there. So I wanted to get at least one day because, again, I want a wall unit in my apartment.
Right.
And so my electric bill is probably going to nearly triple this month.
Sure.
Just from running that thing for the last almost
What's
2
the
weeks
bill?
straight.
What's the bill like actual
On a regular month, you know, say in the dead of winter,
Yep.
or I'm not running at all, it's like maybe $45.
Okay.
And it'll be well over 100 by the time I'm done at the end of July, I'm sure.
So today you thought,
because the humidity was finally dropped. The temps really honestly haven't been scorching the last week or so, but the humidity's been so dang high that it just, you know, I would just sit in the apartment and sweat. So I've been running the air conditioner, but I thought today with the dew point finally dropping, I can at least give it a day off. So I shut it off before I left. So we'll see what kind of condition my apartment's in when I get home.
so for you, it's a dew point scenario.
It's a combination. You know, if it gets in,
is there a metric for this? Is there
I don't know if
like
there's-
like a cook-a-meter, like some sort of?
I don't know that I have specific numbers. Maybe we could.
Could
Maybe
somebody
we could do
like Claude this and figure out
if it's over 85 degrees.
Yeah, because right now it's 83.
Right, so it's not
AC
so it's under,
weather. I would say
not 83.
83 is no air
No.
conditioning.
No, I can get away with fans at 83. Are you kidding me? So long as the dew point is where it's at, which I think it's like 61 right now. That's pushing it. Too much more than that, and no, I'd have to.
I'm all thrown off by.
I love that.
I just can't imagine that. Like what I need to do to decide if I'm going to shut off the AC is like a dew point.
Well, you
humidity.
don't. You don't need to do that. I need to do that.
But do you do like so are we still using humidity? I feel like everyone, like now the weather nerds, you're sort of a weather nerd. You were going to be a meteorologist.
Yes, that was one path of study I explored in college.
You know what I wish I studied in college?
Anything?
Wow. You know what? I was in the honors program. Okay. I used to be smart before I decided
now look what happened to you.
do this. So dew point or relative humidity? I feel like they don't care about humidity anymore.
I don't know that humidity is such a big deal.
And now it's out.
Yeah, it's more dew point. Where does that get uncomfortable? And then it's obviously heat index, which is using the dew point along with the temperature to make up a number.
Do you guys run your AC? I mean, Dan is in an unusual.
Yeah, because I don't have central. If I had central air, that's a whole different thing, right? But
you
because
just
I just
set
have
it
this,
and forget it.
I have the wall unit, and I've got a couple of fans to move the air around from the living room where the wall unit is into my bedroom. That's how I do it.
Joe is with you on YouTube.
Thank you, Joe.
Most weather pages say if the dew point is over 65, people feel uncomfortable. Another texter is pointing out the heat index. Somebody else says when the dew point is above 50 or above 60, it feels clammy and gross. It doesn't matter what the temperature is. I'm not that sophisticated. Surprising no one. I just
look at the privileged life you lead, DeRusha. You don't have to worry about silly little things like electric bills and dew points. And
it's true. You may have remembered last week the mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, made some headlines when he urged New Yorkers to set their thermostat to 78 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
Which is pretty steamy.
Yeah, no, it's.
And so, of course, the responses were here. This is what
communist mayor
socialism is, people. 78
degree temperatures, buildings falling down. What else is he doing?
I tell you, if the mayor of New York City is saying 78 degrees, if that is evidence of socialism, Gary DeRusha, my father, was apparently like the king of the socialists.
So Lenin,
and
then Jason's dad.
Right in there. He was just a cheap man is what he was. It is. He's alive and well. I made it sound like he's not with us. Gene is in Maplewood. Gene, are you running this sort of calculus yourself?
I know is your producer is awesome. Now, okay, today.
No, you can just stop right there.
A lot of people.
Yeah, we just put a period at the end of that sentence. I don't know why you need to continue.
Well, because this morning I turned off my AC. I hate AC, but when it's muggy and stuff, and I just checked, it's 56 dew point and 40% humidity. It's nice outside. Enjoy the day, guys, because the rest of the week, it's going to be so humid. I mean, it was so humid sometimes. I would go outside and
how humid is it, Gene?
You guys, I love you. But the thing is, you got to enjoy the outside when you can.
Yeah, it's
true.
It's true.
And I have a plant sitting out by my front door, and thank goodness the rain has kept it wet, but not anymore. Right. So now I'll be watering it.
Very good. Gene, do you set a thermostat? Is there when you have the AC? What do you set it?
You know what? When it's on, I've never put it to 78 for goodness sakes. I had it at 75 sometimes, but usually it's 74. And sometimes down to 72, but then it gets really cold, and then I put a sweater on. Then I'm going, well, this is stupid.
Thanks,
anyway,
Gene. Thank you. We appreciate you. Gene's the best. 651-461.
I mean, if you're going to set it at 78, you might as well not have it on at all.
Well, when it's 100 outside, though, 78 is significantly nicer, right? It was 100 in New York City when the mayor, the big evil socialist one.
Tried to stop those blackouts,
You know what they do in our neighborhood? They turn off your air conditioner, because I'm signed up for the
power saving thing. Yeah.
Do you ever think XL Energy? There's a guy. There's a guy just sitting over there. He's like, DeRusha, turn off the turn it off. It might be. I got a friend, Tom Young, who works at XL Energy. He's a computer nerd over there. Maybe Tom Young is. Tom and Heather came with us to Portugal. on one of the Colette trips. Maybe Tom is shutting off my central air. I don't know. Texter says that Fox News had an 11 box of people to talk about Mamdani and the turn off the
Not a
AC
surprise.
state. Do you remember on TV, like when they would have a 3 box? That was sort of a big deal. It was like, that's amazing. Now 11. Let's go to Brian in Northeast Minneapolis. Brian, are you a dew point calculator?
Dew point. Chris Schaefer doesn't tell me the dew point, so I can figure out. You don't have to tell me humidity, and I live on the bottom floor, so I haven't used air conditioning yet, and I don't need to because I'm
that
okay.
helps.
But dew point.
What is your number? What's your dew point number where you say, like, this is a dilly of a dew point for me? I'm fine.
Anything above 60, some people start to get uncomfortable. I go by the basics. Anything under 60, pretty much everyone's comfortable. So
no. All right. This is all very eye-opening to me, Brian. Thank you.
I want more dew points during
more dew
weathercast.
points. I can provide that information. I mean, we should have Dan do it. We could get it sponsored. It's Dan's dew point.
Meteorological guy.
Yeah. Schaefer is letting you down. That's for sure.
Always. Dew point. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the record, Chris Schaefer is like the third nicest human being on the planet.
Makes it more fun to make fun of him, doesn't it?
Kind of. Especially when he does the puns. Then it's forget it. Go for it. Have at him.
So many puns. Texters say, I love the heat. Today is really nice, but humidity is trying to kill me. Wow.
Humidity's tough because you can't sweat, right? I mean, you can, but it doesn't evaporate and do the job.
Yeah. If it would be 90 and not humid, it would be okay. I had chemo years ago, and ever since humidity makes me physically ill. I am fascinated with sort of the trade-offs that life gives you, you know. Sometimes you're like, I survived cancer. But to survive, you have to have this chemotherapy. Here's the whole, like, this is painful. But then what you get as a benefit is now you have the most sensitive dew point detector known to man. It's very strange. Another texter says, it's like your sleep number. I'm now excited to find out what my dew point comfort level is. I think this could be a Dan Cook, the Dan Cook dew point.
It works for me.
What is the relationship between dew point and humidity? It always confused me a little bit.
It's a percentage of the air temperature, right? The closer the dew point is to the air temperature, the higher that humidity percentage is.
So, I mean, that sort of makes it seem like it's the same. Humidity indicates the moisture in the air relative to the temperature. Dew point is an absolute temperature.
Right.
That tells you
the temperature with that moisture condenses out of the air.
Correct.
So the closer the dew point is to the air temperature, the higher that humidity percentage is. So that's what I just said.
My head is already exploding. Like I don't know. I don't get it. I just turn on the AC.
If we had a whiteboard, I could do what we do over in the corner. I'll pull the whiteboard out. I'll do it for you during the break.
A texter says that Jason has a sponsor endorsement for electricity and he pays no bills. So maybe that's why I don't care.
See, I think so.
Maybe that's why I don't care. Why don't you hit the button at 418? Hit the thing.
We want to go to break? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. Don't I have a Randy's Electric?
I mean, you
ad
will.
right now?
You will. But this is the weirdest way you've ever gone to break. So I'm
well,
just
right, because the guy was like, "You got a sponsor, an electric sponsor."
When things are going on in your mind, I'm not party to that. So I don't. I'm sure that made perfect sense to you with the way that you were laying that out in your own brain. But I don't know what's going on in there.
Well, the texter
There's
said,
like neurons firing. I don't know.
Sponsor endorsement for electricity, and then I thought you could hit the thing.
Drive Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Go see Dan Dingman and the crew today, or always online at LutherKiaBloomington.com.
Okay, so that I was going to say, like, I do have a sponsor for electricity, and it's Randy's Electric. You get it? Now do you see what the creative wizardry of DeRusha was cooking up, Dan?
I stopped listening when you said hit the button.
Oh, the team at Randy's Electric, let me tell you, when you call Randy's, it is a lot smoother scenario than that little interaction was on my behalf. That's for sure. Randy's Electric and Plumbing is there for you in life's oh no moments. Man, all of us have had these moments, right? Maybe it's a power surge where your lights start flickering, or you just change your light bulb and you put in that LED light, and all of a sudden you're like, yeah, why is this flickering? Well, it might be your panel. It might be your switch. It might be time to call Randy's. Now, all of us have had that water heater emergency where it quits right before everybody needs to go take a shower, or you got the toilet that is just running and running and running. Call Randy's. You are first going to say, oh, no. I get it. Like, oh, no. Then you call Randy's. They've been helping Twin Cities homeowners handle the small stuff and the big stuff for more than 20 years. Electrical repairs, panel upgrades, rewiring a whole house. They'll fix your plumbing. They'll fix your sewer, drain service, sump pumps, water heaters. Any of those oh no moments in your home where you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm panicking. Don't. Think of this moment on Drive Time with DeRusha. And then you call Randy's. The website is called Randy's.com. Randy's Electric and Plumbing.
You know that feeling when your body is tired, but your brain just won't shut off? We've all been there. Jordana here. That's where CBN comes in. CBN, short for cannabinol, is a naturally occurring hemp cannabinoid known for its relaxing, sleepy effects. Think of it like the lights dimming signal for your brain. While CBD helps you stay calm, CBN helps your body know it's time to rest. That's why we call it CB Night Night. Mini Leaf Night and Night Plus Sleep Gummies combine CBN, CBD, and CBG to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, and then wake up feeling refreshed. Go to minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com, minileaf.com, the home of Minnesota's best legal products. And tell them Jordana sent you.
Brianna is a member of LiUNA Local 563.
If you're looking for a rewarding career in the construction trades, then consider joining LiUNA like I did over 13 years ago. Union contractors are hiring construction laborers across every construction market, and union laborers earn great pay and benefits and have access to the Laborers Apprenticeship Program that provides free training for your entire career with no college debt. Our work is building a better and safer Minnesota.
For career opportunities, visit buildthenorth.com.
Could you help me carry some of this stuff?
A half a gallon of soda, 6 boxes of candy? What's going on?
Movie night at Barufka's.
I thought we were going out.
Not when we have the best seat in the house with our M-Series seating solution.
It's not really the same thing.
It's better. The M-Series combines comfort and convenience with available dual cup holders and wireless, clutterless AC and USB charging ports.
Available as a recliner, reclining sofa, or full theater configuration.
Crafted in Indiana, the 3-piece reclining theater configuration is Craftsman direct priced from $66.12 or $276 a month for 24 months. Now sit down and enjoy the next feature on my cell phone.
Oh, Jim. Barufka's, no gimmicks, haggling, or hard to understand pricing.
Showrooms in Woodbury, Burnsville, and Minnetonka. Decidedly, well, you get the picture.
Dave Lee for Aquarius Home Services. Yes, we all love summer. That is until your air conditioner starts acting more like an oven than a fridge. If your AC is on the fritz, now's the time to trade in and trade up with an additional $500 off on top of some great summer sale pricing on a new cooling system from Aquarius. Enjoy a cool, comfy home all summer long. Schedule your free estimate today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
What is and now we got a good thing going on. Oh, your buzz, your smile, I'm in and now.
We're about 10 minutes away from talking about some of the new foods at the State Fair. Crazy list out today. The studio smells like this dill pickle pie. If you love dill pickle, And I do love dill pickle, but you know what I like? I like a pickle. And I like a fried pickle. That's about the extent of what I need the pickle people to be providing, you know? We're going to talk to the Dumpling people, Saturday Dumpling Co., which has been a huge viral hit in Minneapolis for the last couple of years now at the State Fair. That's coming up in about 10 minutes. I want to talk right now about the city of St. Paul doing what I think a lot of us have been waiting for the cities of Minneapolis to just do for 3 or 4 years. And the new mayor of St. Paul announced yesterday that the city is going to start clearing all of the homeless encampments. The compassionate approach, the let people come to their own conclusion that they either need somewhere to stay in a homeless shelter or that they're going to change their life in some way and get drug treatment or get mental health treatment. That compassionate way has not worked. It hasn't worked. And you can argue that part of why it didn't work is that we didn't have an aggressive enough approach in pushing people into choosing to help themselves. I think that is a fair criticism, and also it's time. To me, it's time. When I heard that the city of St. Paul is going to clear their largest homeless encampment, my initial reaction was that, thank God, and why did it take so long? Love your feedback at 651-461-9226. I think the fact that they announced this so early, and they're starting with the large camp at Pig's Eye Park along the Mississippi River, the reason they announced it early is to say, like, all right, there's about 100 people, more than 100 people at this encampment. And they've been trying for years to get those folks to get out of there. And they haven't. And so now they know it's time. Now, the challenge in this community, as Jonathan points out, is that if you clear a homeless shelter or a homeless encampment in St. Paul, are those people just going to come right across the river to Minneapolis? And the answer is yes, especially if the city of Minneapolis continues to hand-wring about what to do about this situation. Now, I realize that none of the options here are good. They really aren't. And the people who just are like, well, arrest everybody, like, get a clue. Like, you're not going to keep people locked up for any significant amount of time, but you also cannot allow people to just live on the streets in these large encampments. You just, it's not humane for those folks. It's not safe. It's not safe for the community. It's not safe for law enforcement, firefighters. There have been all sorts of criminal activities at these different homeless encampments. And this is like east of downtown, but there have been fires, sexual assault, theft, 2 overdose deaths, and other emergencies, according to an assessment the city performed earlier this year. Now, I don't know what the timing on that has been, but would you consider that a humane way of treating people? I don't think the way we have done this has been any sort of victory for empathy and humanity. And I'll tell you the other challenge in St. Paul, and some of this is where it's in my face every day because I live downtown. And every time I leave downtown Minneapolis to get on Interstate 94, I go past the Dorothy Day Center and Catholic Charities. And it is at once incredibly sad and eye-opening, and at the same time, it is infuriating that the front door of our capital city is often people screaming at each other, people in one state of overdose or another, people in one state of undress or another. I've seen more from strangers than I would care to see. And this is outside a shelter. So you still have these challenges regardless. But I think this first step in announcing in the city of St. Paul, like, look, we're going to close this one down and we're going to close them all down. It starts with this one, says the mayor. And the mayor in a statement said, no matter how we address this issue, there will be disruption. This is one of the most significant challenges facing communities across our country, and I think it is. Urban communities are all in the same boat. This is not unique to us. But I would like to hear more conversation about what the plan is. Like, I do think the cities sort of face an uneven burden on this, where everybody who is living in a homeless encampment isn't necessarily from the city of Minneapolis. This is a Ramsey County, Hennepin County. Frankly, it's a state of Minnesota challenge. And is there enough being put forth to make sure we have enough beds for folks? I don't think so. But the other issue is that there is a certain segment of people that just regardless of the beds, they don't want it. They don't want to stop doing drugs. They don't want to stop having sex. They don't want the religious overtones, whatever. They don't want it. They don't want the rules. And we don't get to decide that. We don't get to decide that. I hope Minneapolis does the same thing, because I do not want St. Paul just pushing people into Minneapolis. That solves nothing. Let's break. It is State Fair Food Day. It's been a big talker in our news throughout the day today, and a big talker on social media as well. I have been making lists, sharing my favorite new foods that have been announced, and then maybe some that give me pause. All of that on Instagram at DeRusha J. But next, Peter from Saturday Dumpling Company. It's Saturday Dumpling Co. Peter Bian joins us talking about being a new vendor and the new food he's got at the fair in a minute.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, Livia is not going to tell you, don't go to the fair. It's Jason here for Livia Weight Control Centers. Bear in mind, when I first reached out to the Livia team, when I joined Livia Weight Control Center, it was this summer. And Dan probably remembers that first summer of our show out at the State Fair when I was somehow losing weight during the Minnesota State Fair. You can do it, and you can still enjoy. It's all about a balance. It's all about having a team behind you. And Livia, frankly, you know what they do for weight loss. I lost 45 pounds. I've kept that off for 4 years. Wow. Crazy. What I didn't know is there's so much more to what Livia is up to in 2026. They've evolved, just as we all are evolving, into having greater concern about overall wellness. So medical weight loss support, they got you. GLP-1 support, yes. Hormone balancing and hormone replacement therapy, that's part of the equation too. Anything that can help you and your body achieve the you that you've always dreamed of, Livia's got it. So go explore. Explore the website at livia.com and reach out. Tell them you heard about it here on Drive Time.
Conversation, not confrontation.
My basis of feeling proud of the country isn't solely dependent on politics.
Thought-provoking.
We live in Minnesota. I mean, we know a thing or two about fraud.
Sharp opinions.
Workplace recycling is among the biggest shams in the history of shams.
Solid Minnesota.
Oh, we only lost 4-3 to the Dodgers. Way to go, team. Stop with the moral victories.
Minnesota's radio station. News Talk 830 WCCO.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
The warm days of summer have arrived. You're going to want to have an AC in your house. Call Metro Heating and Cooling. We'll be happy to help you choose the AC system that's right for your home and wallet. Get a free estimate at metroheating.com. Metro Heating and Cooling of Maplewood.
Get your home into the comfort zone with Metro Heating and Cooling.
Metroheating.com.
Big red checks are everywhere. It's Jason DeRusha, and I know you've seen my buddy Chris Lindahl handing out those big red guaranteed cash offer checks. I love it. I've worked with Chris. He knows that when you're selling a house, you do not want stress and uncertainty. You want speed, convenience, and a big red check. Chris is a local guy. I know him. He's one of us, and he knows how to get you a fresh start in life. Apply for your guaranteed cash offer at chrislindahl.com or call 763-401-SOLD.
Are your checking and savings accounts feeling dim? Allow Luminate Bank to make banking brighter. With our radiant savings and brighter checking accounts, we're here to help strengthen your financial future with options for both personal and business accounts. With no minimum balance requirements, high yield rates, and our online banking and bill pay tools, Luminate Bank is simply the best choice. So don't let your money sit in the shadows. Let Luminate Bank illuminate your finances. Learn more at luminate.bank. That's LUMINATE.bank. Luminate. We make banking brighter. Member FDIC. Other fees may apply and fees may reduce earnings.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
State Patrol and ambulance on the scene of an injury crash. That's going to be Cedar Avenue, the ramp to 94 eastbound. They are currently blocking the ramp. No traffic getting by on the ramp itself. You might want to move over to Riverside to work your way around it. Again, Cedar Avenue to East 94 ramp closed due to an injury crash. If you're going to be traveling South 35E, 10 to 15 on your ride as you come down from Victoria Street down to West 7th, West 694 slows, Silver Lake Road, heading over to Highway 252. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, let's get that forecast. First of all, the Dan Cook dew point is at 58 degrees. So pleasant out there, but it's changing. Here's Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
Partly cloudy conditions tonight, 67 the overnight low. Partly cloudy again tomorrow, should warm up to about 87. That's back up above average. The only rain in this forecast is well northwest of the Twin Cities tomorrow. The rest of it, dry and hot. Sunny and 90 on Saturday, highs up into the 90s next week.
84, a perfectly sunny and pleasant summer day in St. Paul here on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
Fundamentally, a non-traditional approach to talking about, learning about, and exploring the day's news.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
DeRusha, he has the eats. Nobody brings you the Twin Cities restaurant scene like your favorite foodie. Now, Jason explores some of the great chefs, owners, and stories right in our own backyard. Drive Time now transitions into DeRusha Eats.
DeRusha Eats brought to you by the Minnesota Pork Board, and you can't have missed it today. The new foods all announced for the Minnesota State Fair. There's an official list. There are new foods not on the list. There are new vendors. It's a little overwhelming, but we have one of the new vendors with us at CCO here to talk about the first time that they'll have their own booth at the fair. Saturday Dumpling Co. Peter Bian is with us, the co-founder. Peter, congratulations on getting in the fair.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
How's it feel being a part of like such a massive tradition here in Minnesota?
It's great. We'll see what the madness brings. 12 days. Usually we go 1, maybe 2 at the most every single year, and now we're going to be there all 12 days. So we'll see. It's going to be herding cats, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Saturday Dumpling Co. started in the COVID era and became huge online, people picking up the drops of those dumplings. And now today you have how many brick and mortar locations?
We've got 2 brick and mortar locations, one in South Minneapolis on 54th and Penn, our newest location. That one is. We have the one in Northeast, our first brick and mortar on Central Avenue and Hennepin in Northeast. And we have a food stall in Malcolm Yards on campus.
So you guys are going to be in the food building at the State Fair.
Going to be in the food building.
You have a little State Fair experience with a product that you made with O'Gara's, right?
We did, yes. So last year we made O'Gara's new fair food item. It was called a Pot of Gold. It was a dumpling popper, a completely new item that we did in collaboration with them. It was filled with cheesy mashed potatoes. And we have a meat rendition of that at our stall this year.
So the experience, do you think the experience of going through that with O'Gara's before, obviously different from having your own stand and having to staff it, but do you think that prepared you at all for this?
Production wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Execution wise, we'll see this year. Last year we were joking and we were saying, me and my wife Linda, we were like, this is the best way to approach the fair. We just make them, they do what they're good at, we do what we're good at, and then the fair called, maybe 2-3 months ago, and you have to say yes to the fair. So here we are.
If you say no once, that phone never rings again, right?
That's what I've heard. I don't know, but I don't know how many people say no.
Right. Why did you say yes? So they reached out to you. Boy, is that going to tick off people who've been scratching and trying desperately to get into the fair.
Well, we had our application in 3 years ago. Follow up every year and just see what's available. And then I think O'Gara's really showed them something, that we were able to not only produce en masse and have consistency and keep the lines flowing and also produce a product that was consistent.
I thought it was good. I know it was sort of controversial last year, but I liked it. I think some people thought it was like too dense.
Like too dense or too mushy. Yeah. So, a lot of learnings there on the production side. It was like a new item. So I think this year's going to be a lot better. I think it was like the perfect space. The food building closes an hour earlier, opens an hour later. So good way to ease into the food scene at the fair.
Peter runs Saturday Dumpling Co. with his wife, Linda. You brought some of the new products. Obviously, everything's new for you this year, but you make dumplings all the time. So this is not like, oh gosh, like how are we going to do this?
Yeah, it's not crazy. Production we've kind of handled.
What are the products you said? One is based sort of on that dumpling popper you did last year.
So that is our meat-filled item. It is a cheesy Chinese sausage dumpling popper. So it's filled with a sweet and savory lachong Chinese sausage, provolone, and it's deep fried.
Mm-hmm.
A little crispy on the outside, nice and cheesy on the inside. And we're serving that with just a simple sweet and sour dipping sauce.
Easy, delicious. You'll be able to crank these out. It's shareable.
That's what we're hoping. Yeah. That's what we're hoping.
Those are some of the factors you think of. Having something shareable, I think, is key myself when I'm out at the fair.
Yeah, absolutely. You're coming in big groups. You're trying to eat as much as possible, So having something that's bite-sized, finger food is always beneficial in our minds.
What's this next?
This
wonton wrapper.
Yeah, this is our sweet offering. It is a deep-fried ube cheesecake wonton. It's topped with sweetened condensed milk and Biscoff cookie crumbles, and inside is a ube cheesecake cream cheese filling.
Some people are going to say, what is ube?
Yeah, exactly.
It's purple.
It's purple. It's taro. Some people call it taro. Some people call it ube. It's
sort of sweet potato adjacent, I guess.
Yeah, sweet potato. It's a tuber, so it takes on like a lot of like the flavors that you put with it.
Right.
So, we have a little nutmeg in there. We have a little sugar just to sweeten it up a little bit more.
Yeah.
And some vanilla as well.
That is very good. The consistent. My mouth is watering, so it's hard to talk. The consistency, it's so sweet.
Yeah.
But like the ube sort of brings in a little earthiness to it, so it's not a sugar bomb.
Yeah.
And it's bright purple. Like people are going to go nuts with that.
I hope so. Yeah. Ube is one of those ingredients right now that's kind of
it is hot
and trendy right now. So
I saw a couple.
We're trying to ride the wave.
There are a couple ube items on there.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It's visually enjoyable, I think. And like you said, it's a good base for different
I hope so.
flavors.
Yeah. That's what we're counting on.
Peter Bian, Saturday Dumpling Company. You're in the food building. You're going to have to hire people to come out there and work, right?
Absolutely. If you hop on to SaturdayDumpling.com, on the top banner, you'll see careers, and we welcome any and all people to come and apply.
Did you grow up here in Minnesota?
I did. Went to high school in Mounds View High School, up in Shoreview and Arden Hills.
And so when you think about that, like family story, growing up here in Minnesota, having your chance to have your food at the state fair.
I mean, it's pretty cool to think about, coming full circle, being at the fair every single year, seeing, some of the restaurant tours that we look up to, both in like the fine dining area, and people like Stephanie Shimp, as well as, our friends over at Baba's.
Yeah.
Seeing them do the fair.
Did you ask for advice from any of these guys if you should do it or not?
I certainly will be, now that the news is out. So, we'll take whatever help that we can get. And then seeing, longstanding people like Chris O'Gara, and Danny O'Gara over there, it's, and we're close too. So it's nice having people that we can lean on.
It's going to be a wild ride for sure, and you still are keeping your regular operations open.
All
too.
3 locations are going to be cranking out dumplings.
Where is the production kitchen? Where are you doing?
The production kitchen is in our first location, still in Northeast.
Is it cramped in there?
It is very cramped. Yes, we have offsite storage now, but all the production is still, for like 90% of it is still handmade, hand cranked out. Each dumpling still touches each hand of our production crew.
So. I mean, the advantage of this type of food is that you can stockpile this stuff for the fair, and then you're frying it on site, right?
If we had to make these a la minute or day of, I mean,
forget it.
Yeah. With the temperatures and
execution, though, you never know, and it gets hot in that food building. That's for sure.
I'm sure we're gonna get thrown a couple of crazy curveballs.
Oh yeah,
so looking forward to it.
It's fun, man. I'm really happy for you. Congratulations. You have a beverage too that's gonna be a part of it.
We do, yeah. I mean, both to cool us down and cool the fairgoers down. It is a salted mango yuzu aid. So a little salty, a little sweet. It'll be on ice. And we love it. I think this one's going to be a sleeper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. The mango on a hot day, holy moly, that's going to go like nuts. Yeah. The beverages, I do think like the non-alcoholic, more creative beverages you're seeing, it's pretty cool. Makes it fun for people.
Yeah, I think the industry as a whole is kind of trending that direction. So, leaning into it with fun flavors like yuzu and mango. I don't think you can go wrong.
Peter, really fun to have you here. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Lots of food coverage at WCCOradio.com. We have the full list of new state fair foods there for you. Also, I have created a list at MinnesotaMonthly.com, a ridiculous ranking of these new foods without me trying them. Here's just a ranking. Also videos on social media of my top 10. And the 6 that made me a little mad. The 6 I'm a little disturbed with. Which do you think is getting better traffic online, Peter?
Oh, I'm sure it's a lot.
Yeah, the haterade. Like
I'm sure it's the latter.
Yeah, of course. No doubt about it. Thanks, Peter. DeRusha Eats here on CCO. Thanks to the Minnesota Pork Board. Back in just a minute.
Drive Time with DeRusha. Tuned up and rolling. Thanks to Luther Kia of Bloomington.
A lot of Minnesota pork on that list of new foods at the Minnesota State Fair. We love the Oink booth, right? State Fair, Minnesota Pork Board with their great new facility. It's Jason here for our Minnesota pig farmers, 3,000 strong, every corner of this state. Oh, I can't wait for that pork belly bao bun from RC's Barbecue. That Charlie Torgerson knows his way around Minnesota pork. A lot of us love making Minnesota pork a part of our dinner time plans, especially with the hot weather this weekend. Isn't it kind of slow barbecue season? You're hanging out in the AC with that grill just doing the work with a nice rack of ribs or maybe a giant old pork shoulder. If you need recipe inspiration, well, you can ask your butcher. Do you trust your butcher for a recipe? I don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. But you can also go to tastewhatporkcando.com. Put flavor on the table. So many recipe ideas at tastewhatporkcando.com. But go get that Minnesota pork for dinner tonight.
Let me tell you something about insurance. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Handshake, commission, done. Then you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business runs all year, so do the gaps and the risk. So go to supersure.com. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, CFO, or HR manager, it can be too complex to just go buy a policy online. Supersure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts. It'll translate your current policy into plain English so you see what's covered and what's not. Plus a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know what actually needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com. That's supersure.com. Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
And Doug. Limu and I created a trick to help you remember that you can customize your car insurance and save with Liberty Mutual. You see, the shirts Limu and I wear are yellow, and yellow is the color of lemons. And lemons grow on trees, and trees provide oxygen. And oxygen helps us breathe, and breathing is how you live. And you can live more life when you save money by customizing your car insurance. I agree, Limu. It's really quite simple. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Hey, it's Benita. We all know how great the John Schuster Group, Coldwell Banker Realty is. Moni, how did you get started working with the Schuster Group?
It started off with my husband driving to work one morning, listening to WCCO, and a commercial for the John Schuster Group came on. My main contact was Tim Sabin. They posted the listing. By the end of that day, we already had over 600 views. It was crazy. There was one offer that by far stood out way above the rest, over 10% over asking, and they had cash in bank.
If someone is on the fence about hiring the Schuster Group, what would you tell them?
To see it just blow up like that and move so fast and to get so much more over asking, it couldn't have been a more exciting and fun time. Selling that house for 20 years, one of the hardest decisions I had to make in my life. Choosing John Schuster Group, easiest decision I ever made in my life.
952-222-9000 online, johnschustergroup.com.
Summer is here and you need more room for your kids or grandkids and all their stuff. It's Jason DeRusha for Luther Kia of Bloomington. We're in the middle of the summer sticker sales event. 0% on all Sportages and Sorrentos. Specially marked vehicles have $750 bonus cash too. Best cars for the money on the market. It's not just me saying it. It's U.S. News and World Report. Check out their brand new facility. Luther Kia Bloomington now open at 35W and 494. LutherKiaofBloomington.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Brought to you by Lane of Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. Cedar Avenue to eastbound 94. Got a crash working toward the end of the ramp. It is blocking the right side, so a tight squeeze and a quick merge as you come off the ramp onto I-94. If you're going to be traveling west 94 through Hudson, Wisconsin, it slows as you make way toward Carmichael Road, heading down to the River Bridge. 35W northbound, fairly decent. Some minor slowdowns. You head northbound 15 Highway 10 in Lexington. Sorry about that. Laguna, Minnesota reminds you to slow down in construction zones. Members of Laguna and their union contractors are building better infrastructure for you. So please slow down and pay attention to the road signs when you see orange and yellow. Brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
CCO forecast brought to you by Dickey's Barbecue Pit of the Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader at Dickeys.com. It is pleasant out there right now. Perfect summer day, really. A DeRusha delight, if you will, tonight. Low of 67. Tomorrow, things start getting more humid and hotter. 87 for Friday. 90 on Saturday. We're in the 90s deep into next week. Will we see a couple hundos? I hope so. You're going to be hot. Put up a big number. That's what I say. 97 is for losers. Let's get a hundo on the board. Right now it's 97 for losers. What's wrong with me? 84 on CC.
Your daily detour into sharper conversation. Drive Time with DeRusha. on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Watch me.
So I have to tell you, being a food critic on the day that the new food lists come out for the state fair, it's days like this that I wish like I had like an intern or a helper or something. Because I got a heads up 2 days ago that the state fair was going to release this today. But it's all very secret, and they don't give you a heads up. They just publish it at 6:20 or in the morning. And so it's a race, right? In the internet world, you want to be first or you want to have a unique perspective or whatever. So I got up at like 6:45 because I don't cut and paste the list and just put my name under it and write one paragraph and call it a day. I do something far more stupid. I write this long list where I have ranked the new foods at the fair. And then I write some little snarky or loving or whatever remark about it. And that's at minnesotamonthly.com. You'll be able to see it. But that took me about 2 hours, Dan, to write that today. And you guys ever had that moment when you write something where then you hit publish or you hit save or you hit send or you hit whatever and you hold your breath? Because the computer system that Minnesota Monthly uses, one would think it's from the same people that bring us the Odyssey computer systems. So I hit send on it and just pray. You're like, I hope this doesn't just boot me out and I have to start over. Now I had a backup, but you put all these photos in here and the list and on and on and on. And then all day you have everybody reaching out who's ticked off that like I put them at the bottom of the list. So like I have a video, which like on this show, I don't mind irritating you guys a little bit. Like these are small businesses. You sort of hate to be like, well, this sounds like crap, But like my loyalty is to the people, And if I think something sounds like crap, I'm going to tell you. Also, the whole enterprise is fraudulent, right? Because I don't know if these things are good or not. I haven't tried them. Kind of fun. Fun day, fun stuff. Get you thinking about the fair for sure. Chris Cillizza is going to join us at the top of the hour, our political expert, political analyst, and we're talking about Graham Platner. Some comparisons to Jesse Ventura and Michelle Tafoya. Interesting conversation with Cillizza coming up. Continental Diamond Time Check. It is 4:57. Time to get that pre-owned luxury timepiece you've been dreaming of.
Brianna is a member of Liuna Local 563.
If you're looking for a rewarding career in the construction trades, then consider joining Liuna like I did over 13 years ago. Union contractors are hiring construction laborers across every construction market, and union laborers earn great pay and benefits and have access to the Laborers Apprenticeship Program that provides free training for your entire career with no college debt. Our work is building a better and safer Minnesota.
For career opportunities, visit buildthenorth.com.
Embrace the haze with Hazy Little Thing from Sierra Nevada. If you saw the headliner when they played at the bar or stopped your friends mid-festival to look at the stars, if you're up for whatever the night brings, then embrace the haze with Hazy Little Thing. Hazy, citrusy, smooth. Come find us during the Minnesota Country Club Festival at the Hazy Little Hideaway. Bring your friends and get a taste of the moments that matter. Embrace the haze with Sierra Nevada Hazy Little Thing. Enjoy responsibly.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have a health reminder from the CDC.
Pneumococcal vaccination is recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose, and millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
For the ones who get it done, Grainger offers the professional-grade products you need to get the job done. With fast delivery you can depend on and access to technical product experts ready to help you meet any challenge. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by.
Minnesota's source for news, weather, traffic, talk, and Twins baseball. News Talk 830 WCCO, KMNB HD2, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran escalating again, with the U.S. carrying out strikes after Iran fired at ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran also launching attacks on U.S. bases in the region. It's prompting the U.S. Embassy in Jordan to issue warnings. Here's ABC's Britt Clinton.
For Jordanians, though, it's a reminder that hosting U.S. forces, it brings both protection but also exposure. And for U.S. officials, it's about getting ahead of this risk, tightening security now rather than waiting for something to happen.
The renewed fighting impacting ship traffic through the strait, and that could cause oil and gas prices to go up once again. The White House touting the first so-called Freedom Fuel Network stations opening in the Philadelphia area, offering discounted gas. The Trump administration says it's not subsidized and is a private company not affiliated with the government. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has details.
It appears to be something of a promotion. The president announced this online last week, saying that someone whom he called a very smart retailer located throughout the Northeast would be stepping up and lowering gas prices at 25 stations. These 25 stations are clustered in and around Philadelphia.
The company's LLC does not list who is behind the stations. In Mississippi, the family of Nolan Wells, who died while celebrating the July 4th holiday on Horn Island with friends, now searching for answers. State authorities suspect the 18-year-old may have drowned, but are still investigating. Family attorney Ben Crump says they're conducting an independent investigation and autopsy.
We're trying to be very transparent, because the family has some concerns about the state of Mississippi doing an investigation of the death of a young black man where young white students may be looked at as having some culpability. So the family is concerned about that.
On Wall Street today, stocks ended up. You're listening to ABC News.
Minnesota's trusted voice, every hour. Let's get you caught up with what's happening now on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Partly cloudy, 83 degrees at 5:02. I'm Laura Oakes. Citing growing concerns about health and safety, the city of St. Paul will start closing homeless encampments in August, beginning with the encampment at Pig's Eye Park on the southeastern side of downtown. Many residents there we spoke with aren't sure what's next for them.
And this has happened before, and as far as we know, they're just coming with bulldozers and bulldozing, our stuff, and people will go to jail and lose their things and have to go scatter and hide. And I mean, we have the resources, and they just gatekeep them all. We have real resources. We have hotels, like people can really get in on lists and wait lists and stuff like that, and they're not. I don't understand.
The mayor's office says additional encampments will close on a rolling basis. More details regarding the fatal shooting of a 16-year-old boy at a Brooklyn Park over the 4th of July weekend. Charging documents say the 17-year-old suspect is a gang member. The shooting took place during a gathering of about 50 young people, and the victim was shot in the head. Right now, the suspect is charged with gun possession. 2 Minnesota companies must pay thousands of dollars following a Minnesota Pollution Control Agency investigation.
Xcel Energy and McGough Construction must pay more than $25,000 in fines after improperly releasing polluted stormwater at Xcel Energy's St. Paul Service Center last year. The Minnesota Pollution Control Agency says approximately 4,000 gallons of polluted water entered a storm sewer system which drains into a nearby wetland. The investigation also found both companies failed to notify the MPCA about the discharges, and they also failed to conduct 14 standard inspections of the stormwater management on the St. Paul Service Center construction site between March and November of last year. Mark Fridays, Talk 830 WCCO.
For the second time this summer, Memorial Blood Centers has declared a blood shortage emergency.
Summer is a challenging time for blood donations with school breaks, vacation, and travel, but this year it is even worse, with the region's blood supply down considerably.
O-neg is the universal donor and is always the most urgent, but during this blood emergency especially, we are down to less than a half day supply.
Spokesperson Jennifer Cillizza says the region's blood supply has dipped due to higher than normal trauma patients, statewide storms, and high temperatures.
We often hear that they didn't donate because they weren't asked, and we are asking, very much so. It's a lot easier process than I think many people realize.
Susie Jones, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Aside from the 36 new State Fair foods this year, 9 new vendors are set to open, including a unique bar and restaurant.
For the first time since 2018, a new building has been constructed on the fairgrounds, the Summer Lakes Boathouse. Food and beverage manager Danielle Dellinger.
It has blue siding with white features and yellow lights. It really gives that feel of a lake house. A lot of nautical themes around it. There'll be a stage with free live entertainment all day long. Really, truly gives that vibe of Minnesota lake life at the Minnesota State Fair.
So it will have a beach?
No beach, no moat, but definitely some kayaks to look at.
One can dream. Ari Bergeron, News Talk 830 WCCO.
And WCCO News Time is 5:05.
Flint Hills Resources Pine Bend Refinery in Rosemont produces important transportation fuels used throughout the Midwest, but they're also active in the community. They support many programs and organizations that make Minnesota better. Go to FHR.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Update is being brought to you by Flint Hills Resources. 610 westbound's jammed up University heading up toward Highway 252. If you're going to be traveling 694 westbound, got your slowdowns there pretty much from Highway 10 all the way to Highway 100. Traveling along 694 eastbound, that's jammed up. Shingle Creek Parkway is moved over toward Silver Lake Road. South 35 east slows between Roselawn and 94. Opens up only to slow again at Victoria Street, and that remains tight as you head down to West 7th Street. Joey Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
And with that, here's WCCO TV Chief Meteorologist Chris Schaefer.
A big warming trend in this forecast. Partly cloudy, will fall back to 67 tonight. Partly cloudy again tomorrow. Warm near 87. Well northwest of the Twin Cities. This weekend, we cook. Mostly sunny and 90 on Saturday, up into the 90s Sunday. Our highs will stay up there deep into next week.
Yes, we're going to be getting hot. It's already getting hot in the northwestern part of the state with parts of the Fergus Falls area, Fargo, North Dakota area under an extreme heat watch right now. In the Twin Cities, partly cloudy, 83 at News Talk 830 WCCO.
Don't just hear the news, understand it better. News Talk 830 WCCO. He knows news. He knows talk. He knows nonsense, too. So get ready for a lot of each. This is Drive Time with DeRusha, fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Once again, here's Jason DeRusha.
Here in Minnesota, we have been fascinated by the story of Graham Platner because we love an outsider like anyone else. We have a track record of success in this state with Jesse Ventura, a man with a very colorful history, becoming governor of Minnesota. But the implosion of Platner, and then we'll see what the fallout is for people like Governor Tim Walz and outgoing U.S. Senator Tina Smith, who expended some political capital to endorse this guy, even knowing all the red flags. It is something being talked about here and around the country, and Chris Cillizza has been talking about this on his Substack called So What? Chris, it's good to have you with us.
Thank you, and I can tell you that I remember the exact moment when Jesse Ventura won in 1998.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember exactly where I was because I as a child of Connecticut, which is where at the time the World Wrestling Federation was based, I was a gigantic wrestling fan in the 1980s. And, Jesse the Body Ventura was, he was there. He didn't even wrestle all that much. He was a talker. But I remember being like, wait, what?
Right.
And
right.
Man, I remember Jake Tapper wrote an entire book in like 3 weeks about Ventura winning. And I still find that to be talk about an omen of things to come.
Right.
in terms of what people wanted or were willing to overlook. Or I mean, it's just what a fascinating moment in time. In some ways, it kind of shepherded in the era we're in now.
Yeah, I mean, you could certainly look at Donald Trump and say he is Jesse Ventura on like steroids in a way.
100%. 100%. I always tell people the best, if you want to understand Donald Trump, you need to understand professional wrestling, because he comes from that kind of world, right? He and Vince McMahon are close friends. He was part of like storylines on pro wrestling. It's a very useful window. Anyway, Platner. But I know we're a Minnesota.
It's interesting, right?
Audience.
We think about that. And so when I saw Graham Platner arrive on the scene, just like we saw in Los Angeles, right, with the mayoral candidate that captured everyone's attention, the outsider, the reality.
Spencer Pratt.
Spencer Pratt. Like there's a little bit where I think we all look at these folks and think, it would be nice to have like a non-political insider come in there and be like the voice of the people. So where did where did this go so south with Graham Platner?
Yeah, and it's not new either. Obviously there's the Ventura and Trump, and look, how about if John Fetterman was 5'11" and dressed in suits, would he be John Fetterman? Probably not, right? I mean, I think part of John Fetterman's appeal in Pennsylvania was, hey, this guy wears Carhartt sweatshirts and shorts every day, and he's 6'8". I think there are two kind of paradoxical things going on with Platner, and there will be more like Platner. I don't know if they'll follow the same arc, but on the one hand, to your point, Jason, there really is this desire. It's not just within the Democratic Party. I think it's within the Republican Party too. It's why we got Donald Trump, for people who are not part of the establishment, people who are not the buttoned up Brooks Brothers shirt, red tie, a charcoal gray suit, right? Like, I think people want that. They feel like our politicians, Republican or Democrat, have kind of failed us, that politics doesn't reflect the things I, regular person, care about. The other thing that is true and also paradoxical is most of those people who are outsiders, who have not run for anything, have never been vetted in any meaningful way. Like they have done things that make them outsidery, but also may make them unelectable. I mean, that's the hard thing with Graham Platner. It's like, yeah, he's got tattoos and he's an oyster farmer and he served in the military and he got disgruntled. Yeah, he wrote a few things, but then it's like, oh, and then he treated these women like that. And then this woman this week, alleged that he raped her. And, that's the thing. It's, you don't get one without the other. It's like how I think about the internet. Oh, the internet in many ways is amazing. It's also terrible. So, I mean, it's like, you don't get an outsider with a perfectly vetted establishment candidate's credentials. And I guess it's sort of a balancing act. And I guess Platner this week, kind of the tipping point was reached.
And the question is, what are we willing to accept, right?
Yes.
I think obnoxious or offensive writing on Reddit when you're in your 20s, I guess I would tell America, like, brace yourself, because that is
there's going to be a lot of that.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be getting. But when it comes to abusive behavior towards women, I think a lot of Democrats say, well, everybody put up with that with Trump. What's different here?
Yeah, and my answer to that is the thing I told my kids when they were little. 2 wrongs don't make a right. I'm not trying to excuse. Look, Donald Trump has been credibly accused by more than a dozen women of a variety of sexual misconduct, from sexual harassment to sort of, lewd sexual comments. We know he made lewd sexual comments. We heard about it on the Access Hollywood tapes. I'm not forgiving any of that. But that doesn't mean that you get carte blanche if you're another politician to just behave in that way, right? It's, if Donald Trump's behavior is wrong, and Graham Platner's behavior is wrong. Now, did voters enough voters either excuse Trump's behavior, think that the allegations weren't true, or prioritize other things? Yes. Now, would I have done that? No, I would not have. But that's how democracy works, right? I mean, Graham Platner could have said, you know what? I won the primary. I'm staying in the race. He didn't have to drop out. Do I think he would have won? Probably not. Am I sure he wouldn't have won? No, because I never say never anymore. I always say, when people say, surely fill in the blank thing couldn't happen in politics, I always say, who's the current president of the United States? Oh, it's Donald Trump. Oh, and he's in his second term? So don't ever say it never.
Is there a lesson here for kind of many of us who are seeking those different voices? In Minnesota, we have Michelle Tafoya, who is like, we'll see if she wins the Republican primary. She didn't win the endorsement from the state party, but I would think she's the favorite to win the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. Now, she's been in the public eye. It's a little different, right? Like, she's been in the public eye for her life. You feel like there's a little bit of vetting that comes with that, even if you're not a traditional candidate.
Yeah, I think that's right as it relates to Tafoya. You never know what you don't know, but she is not as much of an unknown as Graham Platner. I mean, was when he started running, at least. The advice I'd always give is if it looks too good to be true, it probably is. I don't want to sound too cynical, but I do think, especially on the Democratic side, there is this. It's true on Republican side too, but I think to a slightly lesser extent. There's this desire to find these political saviors, these people who they're going to ride to the rescue of our broken political system. And you know what? All of us have feet made of clay. That's the thing. We are all human. We have all done things, written things, said things that are warts. Now, some are warts that can be forgiven by a majority of the publicans. Some aren't. And there's a little bit of a sliding scale there. But I would caution people, no, we know this in our private lives. No one is perfect, right? It's too good to be true. It probably is too good to be true. But with some of these politicians, I think we freight them with these expectations of like, Graham Platner is the one who's come to save American politics. It's like, probably not. You know what I mean? Like, not to sound too cynical, but I would trust but verify.
And character does matter, which is sort of interesting because it's easy to get like really dark and cynical about this stuff and say, I don't know that character does matter. But when push comes to shove and you have an opportunity to intervene, I do think for most voters, character is an issue here in America.
I think that's right. And I do, one of the things, Jason, I think that we're grappling with, and I think we continue to grapple with and look for data points does character matter anymore in a post-Trump era? Because even after Donald Trump isn't president anymore, if you think the impact he has left on American politics is just going to dissipate, you're fooling yourself, right? And he has been able to overcome character issues, whether it's free marriages, whether it's comments about women, whether it's allegations from women about his behavior, that would have doomed lots of other politicians. I remind people, Gary Hart had to get out of the 1988 presidential campaign because they found out that he was cheating on his wife. I mean, is that disqualifying now? I don't know. So I think this is a data point that says, you know what, like there are, to the point you made earlier, there are lines that if they are crossed, for the majority of the public, that is disqualifying. Now, we'll see. I think we have to be hesitant. Don't draw too many conclusions off of Graham Platner. Unfortunately, there's going to be more situations like this in the years going forward, and then let's see kind of how people react from there. But I actually think this last week suggests character does matter to enough voters.
I think that's right. Chris Cillizza, thank you so much. Appreciate the time. People can follow Chris on his Substack, chriscillizza.substack.com. Great stuff. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, my friend. Be well.
Drive Time back in just a minute here on CCO.
Time with DeRusha is fueled by Luther Kia of Bloomington. Always online at lutherkiaofbloomington.com.
How are you feeling about your wardrobe? It's Jason. When is the last time you upgraded a suit? When's the last time you said, I need something for a wedding or for a job interview or for going back to the office? J.H. and Sons at the Galleria in Edina would love to see you. The Halberstadt family has been getting it done in Minnesota for more than 50 years. They started in St. Cloud. Oh, the work they do is tremendous. It's a different experience. If you are used to the way you get treated at most stores today, AKA ignored, you're going to be a little surprised when you show up at J.H. and Sons and get the full service experience from Alicia and Bryce and Chuck and Dean. They've got a tailor right on site. Even if you buy just a button-up shirt, like the shirt I'm wearing right now, they'll take in a dart or let out a part or make sure the arms are just the right foot. I've had right foot, the right length. I've had shirts that have been shortened before because, you don't want to be tucking. Sometimes you're like, too much tucking in. J.H. and Sons customizes your experience to your needs. It's pretty cool, pretty simple. quite unusual as well. Sign up for their mailing list, their VIP mailing list. It is at jhandsons.com.
Hey, you! Yeah, I'm talking to you! We got a show and it's Guys and Dolls at Chanhassen and Dinner Theaters. It's terrific and delicious because you got dinner and a show. Don't take my word, everybody's loving it. The Pioneer Press called it a must-see. Star Tribune called it eye-popping and blazing with brilliance. I heard a lady from Eden Prairie say this is the best show she's ever seen at the Chan. Grab your doll or your guy. Get your family over here for Guys and Dolls. Visit ChanHasn'tDT.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Chad back here with you. I want to talk about trust and peace of mind. We all need it, in particular in some areas, including your insurance. Maybe it's for your business, or maybe it's more traditional with your house and your car. For me, I have trusted Amber Scholl and Associates with American Family for, what are you guessing, 5 years, 10 years? No, my entire family, whether it's my father or my kids, with American Family, with Amber in particular, for 30 years. We dread something bad happening with our house, with a car accident, but we need people with expertise, with professionalism and availability, and that's what Amber and her team are all about. Reach out to them today. It's worth it. Trust me. 651-738-4811.
Summer is here and you need more room for your kids or grandkids and all their stuff. It's Jason DeRusha for Luther Kia of Bloomington. We're in the middle of the summer sticker sales event. 0% on all Sportages and Sorrentos. Specially marked vehicles have $750 bonus cash too. Best cars for the money on the market. It's not just me saying it. It's U.S. News and World Report. Check out their brand new facility. Luther Kia Bloomington, now open at 35W and 494. Luther Kia of Bloomington.com.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
I think that's a recipe for chaos.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
Is Mitch McConnell alive? And do we as voters, as taxpayers, as Americans have a greater right to know what's going on with the medical situation of our elected officials than we would of our neighbor? I think we do. And I think if we've learned anything over the last couple of years, it's that we cannot trust our elected officials to tell us the truth about their medical situation. And so what do we do about it? What do we do about it? The fact that the question is being asked today, is Mitch McConnell alive? And in fact, it's a question that a Republican congressman asked about today. McConnell is, of course, the former Senate Republican leader. He is a senator from Kentucky, an Indiana House representative. Was on News Nation today criticizing the lack of information coming from McConnell's office, saying, look, Republicans deserve more information. All of us deserve more information. What frosts me the most about politicians lying or concealing their medical situation is that it's about power. is just about preserving their power. And in some cases, it's staff members, I think. It's sort of like Weekend at Bernie's, right? Somebody's propping these guys up. And of course, the worst case we saw of this was during the Biden administration. I think it's fair to say, you know, we don't know how wide the circle was of people who knew that it was more than he was just getting older. It was more than he's just a little tired. And there are certainly moments with President Trump, like we saw yesterday, where he starts going, and you're like, did you just call
the Islamic Republic of Japan?
He referred to Volodymyr Zelensky as President Putin a couple times. You know, I think we have to have some empathy for people who are getting older. I would say, like, once again, my anti-old people in political office, my viewpoint on this looks more and more right as time goes on. I know Chad likes to say I'm an ageist. I like to say that we have standards for how old you can be to fly an airplane. We have age limitations on the bottom end of our Constitution, right?
We have mandatory retirement ages for judges in Minnesota.
And I think we should have that for elected officials at the federal level.
You know, on the one hand, to me, it feels kind of gross to say we got to know exactly what's going on with somebody who's in the hospital dealing with whatever kind of,
and we know he was admitted on
serious illness that he's dealing with.
June 14th,
Right.
And it feels like you should be able to have some agency over what you share.
Some privacy, and you know, when you're dealing with serious health issues like that. I feel that way, but also when there's not transparency, when you're not releasing out, this is what the medical condition is, this is what's going on, then you get the conspiracy theories propping up. Oh, he's actually dead, but they've got to pretend that he's alive until this particular date on the calendar, because then the governor can't just replace him. The whole thing is just gross. So do we just have to say 82, whatever? I mean, pick an age and just say, that's it. Your mandatory retirement after that. And if you're going to miss more than a week of time, either in the Senate or in the House, you've got to put out some sort of statement about what your medical condition is.
Yeah, I mean, when you feel like you have more transparency in professional sports about injuries and time out of the job compared to what we have in the U.S. Congress, I think that's a problem. And I'm sorry. Yes, you as a regular citizen have 100% rights provided by the law to protect you from having to reveal information about your medical history. You do not have to run for Congress. It is not mandatory. And to me, you should have to give up some of that privacy. And maybe we didn't have to get to this point if these men and women weren't so damn power hungry that they can't just retire. They can't just step down. Mitch McConnell, twice? Had
serious medical episodes. Yeah.
Like on camera.
On camera, yes.
But he couldn't give it up, could he? And is it he couldn't give it up? Is it his wife wouldn't let him give it up?
Feinstein on the Democratic side, same kind of situation.
This knows no party. It knows no party. This thirst for power. And I do think staff has something to do with it, too, because if you're the chief of staff or some big shot in the office, you're worried that you're going to lose your gig. But it's just another reason, I think, why Americans look at politicians and say they're out for themselves and they're not out for us. And it's hard to argue it when you see this time and time again. I wish we were not at a point where I would be seriously considering, do we need to change the law to require this?
But we're there.
It's
just the reality.
I think we're there. I do think you have to give up your right to privacy in this regard.
At least to an extent.
And if you don't want to give up the right to privacy, don't run for office.
Yeah.
That's my view. You're welcome to weigh in. As always, you can email us on the show, jason@odyssey.com. Signing up for our podcast is always invited. Drive Time with DeRusha. We upload every segment of this show And we have a separate podcast just for chefs and restaurateurs and farmers called DeRusha Eats. Just dropped a new episode from John Krause, the owner and baker at Patisserie 46, celebrating 16 years, and Bastille Day they're celebrating this weekend at Patisserie 46, so check that podcast out as well. We're going to break in a minute. A shocking story affecting a Minnesota journalist. This guy was tracked by these flock cameras. You know, these cameras that are all over Minnesota, all over America, that are reading license plates. Our guest coming up was tracked by these cameras, such to the point that he was surrounded by the cops. He did nothing wrong. A cautionary tale about all the surveillance that we have around us coming up in just a minute. 5:30 here on Drive Time.
Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Audion Hearing.
Astronomers will see deeper into the universe with a massive new space telescope being built by Raytheon. The RTX subsidiary announced it's building a large space telescope for the Lazuli Space Observatory, featuring a 3.1-meter primary mirror, which will be the largest unobstructed telescope aperture ever launched, with a mission to study planets and distant galaxies. Raytheon plans to deliver the telescope in 2028. I'm Jason Brooks.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aid.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Jason here with an invitation. If you have been considering listing your home on the open market, before you list, I want you to call Chris, or at least go to chrislindahl.com. It's Jason here for Chris Lindahl Real Estate. You know Chris, the arms out guy from the billboards. I hope you know him now from the Big Red Check. Yes, the guaranteed cash offer gives you a fresh start in life, and it gives it to you fast. You can get cash for your house. You can close it right away. You could take up to 90 days if you want. If you don't want to clean it out, you can leave your stuff behind. This is a fresh start on life. And not only are people taking advantage of the guaranteed cash offer, getting that big red check in that scenario, there are people getting a big red check who just don't want to deal with the headache. They don't want to deal with the uncertainty of mortgage rates going up and down, of picky buyers who are nitpicking over all sorts of, finishes on your sink, your countertops, whatever. Think about the cost of stress, the cost of your time, and think about the guaranteed cash offer. Big red check coming your way if you get to chrislindahl.com. Fill out the request. See if the guaranteed cash offer makes sense for you.
You know that feeling when your body is tired, but your brain just won't shut off? We've all been there. Jordana here. That's where CBN comes in. CBN, short for cannabinol, is a naturally occurring hemp cannabinoid known for its relaxing, sleepy effects. Think of it like the lights dimming signal for your brain. While CBD helps you stay calm, CBN helps your body know it's time to rest. That's why we call it CB Night Night. Mini Leaf Night and Night Plus Sleep Gummies combine CBN, CBD, and CBG to help you fall asleep faster and stay asleep longer, and then wake up feeling refreshed. Go to minileaf.com, MINNELEAF.com, minileaf.com, the home of Minnesota's best legal products. And tell them Jordana sent you.
I love days like these at the pool, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. I'm ready to make a splash with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza. Skyrizi is a prescription-only injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. At 4 months, most people saw 90% clearer skin when measured from head to toe, and many were even 100% plaque-free. People also saw significant improvement in psoriasis symptoms of pain, redness, itching, and burning.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Now there's nothing on my skin thanks to Skyrizi, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
Things are slow as you travel 35E. If you're going to be traveling northbound, you're now using the new bypass as make way past Shepherd Road. 2 lanes of traffic still available, but again, you're on that new bypass, and that's helping to slow you down as you come up from Highway 62. South 35E slows past Victoria Street. You head down toward Shepherd Road. Get ready to attack another 5 to 10 easily on that ride. Highway 5 eastbound slows as you make way toward Highway 55 and 494 eastbound, seeing some slowdowns near Highway 52. Sherry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Oh no, the lights are flickering, the drain is backing up, the water heater just went cold. When home problems interrupt your day, call Randy's Electric and Plumbing. Same-day repairs, licensed pros, and clear pricing before work begins. For those oh no moments, call Randy's Electric and Plumbing.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
Randy's Electric and Plumbing. Call Randy's.com, bringing us the weather forecast. Pretty nice out there right now. Right, Chris Schaefer?
Partly cloudy conditions tonight, 67 the overnight low. Partly cloudy again tomorrow, should warm up to about 87. That's back up above average. The only rain in this forecast is well northwest of the Twin Cities tomorrow. The rest of it, dry and hot. Sunny and 90 on Saturday, highs up into the 90s next week.
Sunny, 83. Downtown Minneapolis on CCO.
Where curiosity hits the gas. Drive time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
Bad idea, right? Seeing you tonight, it's a bad idea, right?
This story scares the crap out of me. We have turned much of our world into a surveillance society. And if you're like me, you think, you know what? If we can use cameras to try to find car thieves and murderers and gangbangers, so be it. I don't do anything wrong. What do I have to risk? Our next guest found out the hard way what the risk can be, even if you're doing nothing wrong. Joel Feeder is the editor of the Drive.com. He's an automotive journalist. He test drives cars. And he was tracked by cameras and then cornered by a bunch of squad cars that told him to put his arms up. Joel is with us on the John Schuster Coldwell Banker Hotline. Joel, the story is unbelievable.
I got to tell you, man, in 15 plus years of being an automotive journalist, this takes the cake. This is, I called my editor-in-chief and I said, Sunday, I said, I got the craziest story of my entire career. And he said, that's a bold statement. And I told him what happened. He said, wow, you delivered on that statement.
So take us to the beginning, because part of your job is test driving cars, and you had a Range Rover that came from a dealer or from the company, just with the typical plate that would be on a manufacturer loaner car, right?
Kind of. It's complicated, as I told the police. The short version is press cars is which I'm driving on a weekly basis or around the world, are owned by the automaker. So in this case, this car was owned by Jaguar Range Rover. And typically, and this is a generalization, most press cars are plated with license plates corresponding to where the automaker's U.S. headquarters are. So in this scenario, it was New Jersey, and a lot of Porsches are going to be either California or the East Coast, et cetera. So, a lot of Michigan cars built in Detroit, the Stellantis, Ford, GM, the Detroit plates. So this car had a New Jersey plate, and we have front license plate laws here, but because it's plated in Jersey and they don't have front license plate laws, they only had a rear license plate, and it's registered and owned by Jaguar Range Rover.
So how did the cops end up sort of tracking this car and trying to arrest you? What happened here?
Sure. So
maybe start at the
basically-
end. Start at the end the way you did with your story. So you're just at Kohl's in Plymouth, right?
Yeah. So my wife and I are at Kohl's to turn an Amazon box, right? So we're in Kohl's for maybe 10 minutes. We go on or whatever it took to wait in line to return the Amazon package. Got in the car, put the car in reverse. I checked the rearview mirror, checked the camera, checked around. Everything was clear. Take my foot off the brake. Don't even put my foot on the gas. Like we rolled, I don't know, 2 feet. If you look at the lead image on my story, it looks like we parked like jerks because I rolled with my wheels turned. So we kind of rolled out of the parking spot, right? And then all of a sudden the car's alarms, the backup sensors and everything, it went nuts. Like I'm going to roll over a kid or something. Like someone walked into my path, slammed the brake, look in the rearview mirror, assuming it's something small that walked into my, I couldn't see it. And I see 2 cop cars blasting up with lights going, sirens going in the passenger side. And then I'm like, what the heck? And then I look to the driver's side through the window, and there's 2 more cop cars coming up on my side. So now we're boxed in. We're boxed and pinned, which is the term we use in the police report. And I looked at my wife, and I kid you not, I looked at her and I said, I wasn't even speeding this time. Like I did nothing wrong. And she thought, to be fair, she actually thought that was funny. And so one of the few times I can make a speeding joke and get
right,
get
and have it work. Yes.
Yeah, it worked. And so, I've been pulled over plenty in press cars, whether it's speeding or tagged, whatever, right? And so I always know it's a very complicated situation because the car is registered to the automaker. I have to show. I have a loan agreement that says I'm in it, but it's not my car. So it's a very complicated situation. Whether you're getting pulled over speeding, you're in an accident, or anything. So I already knew the situation at hand for me. Put it in park. Crack the door. Put my hands up. Everything you should do. And to diffuse the situation. Also, I knew we did nothing wrong. And so, the cops get out of the car. No one drew a gun. They had their hands on the gun. They don't know me. And they said, "Are you armed?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Get out of the car." So I got out of the car. He said, "Are you armed?" I said, "No." He said, "Can I pat you down?" I said, "Sure." And he passed me down. And I said, "It's my phone, my wallet, whatever." And he says, "Do you have ID?" I showed him my ID. I gave him my ID. He said, "Who are you?" We ran through the whole, we ran through the "who are you" thing.
Yeah.
Once he determined he knew who I was and I am who I say I am, he said, "Who owns this car?" I'm like, wow, that's a complicated situation.
Right, here we go.
I can explain it, but I need you to have patience. We got to get through that. And so I explained the whole situation. I'm a journalist, whatever. And we got through it. He's like, he understood that I didn't own the car. I had a reason to be with the car, and I had proof of documentation. At least I said I did. And then I was going to show him once he let me that I had the rights to have this car and why. And thankfully, one of the supporting officers had heard of the drive.com. So I got a little lucky there.
That helped. Yeah.
Caught a little break. And then we went through it. And then as we went through it, he's like, the plates are stolen. We got to figure out the car is stolen. I'm sitting here thinking, I don't think so. Right. Like, I knew the car wasn't stolen. Is it possible someone could have swapped the plate onto this thing at a gas station or on a truck? Sure, of course, right? Like these cars travel across the United States and go into random journalist driveways all the time. Absolutely possible. Plausible. Likely? Not really. Probably not. But it could happen. And so, but they quickly determined the car's not stolen. They looked up the VIN. They said the plates were stolen, whatever. And then, of course, I said, well, how did we get here? Right? Like how did we get here? He's like, well, there's flock cameras in Plymouth. And I'm like, oh, because we reported extensively on flock. They're misused by cops in Texas and going to prison for stalking people and their exes and their families. We've reported on signal trace and tracking people via Bluetooth and their devices and their pets' microchips. So we've reported on this situation on the drive.com extensively in the last couple of weeks. And we just did a podcast about this a week ago. So with security experts. So I'm very well versed in this.
But for our listeners who maybe aren't as well versed, flock cameras are you once you know what they look like, you'll start seeing them all over the place. Different suburban communities, different urban communities, but these cameras are all over the country. And then Flock gathers that data, has AI, has computer systems, and they're constantly surveilling and scouring, looking for what they thought they have with you, which is a stolen car or a wanted fugitive, right?
Yeah. So their cameras are typically mounted on top of stoplights, right? So when you go through an intersection, they read license plates. They're called automatic license plate readers. Flock is a company that sells them. There's other companies, Signal Trace, etc. Right? So just like anything, it's a distributor, a supplier, right? That the cops in a city, a municipality can can contract. So Plymouth has 15 of these things in Plymouth right now. I can't speak to other cities around our area, but Plymouth has got 15 is my understanding at the moment. And then it feeds to the cops, and it'll flag things. So like the cops aren't sitting here watching plates go through the supposed to be watching through intersections, but when something that's in the national database gets flagged as a stolen plate in this scenario, or stolen car, right? It'll get flagged, and then it'll send it to the cops that are in the area of that flag, right? So these cops were in this area where I went through a stoplight, flock camera, read the license plate, and flagged it as stolen, sent it to those cops, and then they figured out where the car was parked. One of the cops had informed me that they actually got a flag on it a couple days before that. I think he said 2 days. And so they went looking for me, but they couldn't find me because I went to park in my garage. And so when it got flagged again, they already knew the car. They knew what they were looking for this time, because the other time they didn't move quick enough and didn't see where I went. And this time the car was parked in a public spot. They found it, right? Yeah. Versus my garage where I had the door closed. And so it's my understanding that they actually had them, like, they were staked out. Like they were sitting on the side of Kohl's. They were waiting for me to get in the car. They were waiting for the car to move. They were waiting to confirm there were people in the car. Except they were trying to control the situation.
Which is smart, right? If indeed
100%.
this were a stolen car, this was very smart.
If you stole a car, you're statistically speaking, you're probably armed.
Right.
Like statistically speaking, right? I'm sure of it. Whether you're dangerous or not, I mean, look, if you're in a stolen car, how safe are you? I don't know, right? Like, but you know, and also this wasn't like a 20-year-old Taurus that someone could have just hotwired. This is a $155,000 brand new car, right? Like, it's much harder to steal a car like this than some 30-year-old Taurus. Also, I should say that. So you know, because these cars are all electronically controlled.
Right.
Anyway, so they've been tracking it for days with the flock cameras. I popped up again, and then they did a box and pin, and you know, I did everything. And this is going to sound ridiculous. I'm sure people are going to like roll their eyes. I did everything right? Like I was calm. I answered their questions. I didn't these guys are in an uncomfortable situation too. I have friends that are cops, right? Like they don't know me. I could have a gun. I could be confrontational. I wasn't.
But here's the bigger issue as we talk with Joel Feeder from The Drive, a local automotive journalist who was pulled over because this whole thing was a data entry error. And this is where this is why I think this should be of great interest and great concern to everybody listening, everybody around Minnesota, because this is the flaw when you let computers drive law enforcement, because there was an incomplete license plate put into the flock system, as it's all laid out in your story at the drive.com. But it was an error or an incomplete license plate, and the AI just read part of your license plate because of a quirk of the way the New Jersey plate is. So you not only did you do nothing wrong during the interaction, it wasn't a stolen license plate. It was a giant screw up. And this could have, if you were not as calm in the moment, this could have had terrible consequences, all because of a screw up, a computer, and this giant surveillance company.
That could have got shot. And honestly, I can't sit here and tell you that I would have been as calm, cool, and collected, or my wife would have, if my kids had been in the car. That would have been a completely different situation. Yeah. And they thankfully were not.
Yeah.
This absolutely all happened because of a human error and those things happen. You and I are both human.
Yep, for sure.
We made mistakes. But that human error, because of Flock's network, was exponentially amplified across the entire country. And then on top of that, the AI that runs the Flock back end of those cameras did not catch the error and then led the cops to the car. So there was like compounding issues that happened here. And I do want to say, like, because of a journalist, because it was a press car, because it's a unique plate, like there is absolutely a part of this that is an edge case, right? But that doesn't detract from what just happened, because edge cases happen. And you need to be prepared and be able to handle an edge case in a situation like this. We're talking about people that could die. Whether it's a cop, by the way, I could have been some fugitive.
That's right.
And I could have been armed and dangerous, right?
That's right.
Or they could have assumed.
Or you
that
could have
you
just
did, but-
been Joel Feeder
Correct.
and you had a gun legally and something could have escalated. Who knows? But
Who knows? Thank God none of that happened. But there was a compounding amount of issues that exponentially made this where we got. And there are absolute guardrails that should be put in place electronically. There are system checks that should be put in place at a human level. And it goes to prove that these pieces of technology can be helpful and probably help solve crimes, but they need to have the guardrails and the human interaction to get there.
I hope everybody reads your story. It's at thedrive.com, which is a great site already, but it's just a fascinating story and part of this conversation that I think, it's been a hot one here in the Twin Cities about drones and whether law enforcement should use those. This is already in use, as we know, in Plymouth. Joel Feeder from The Drive. I'm glad it ended okay, and I'm glad you spent some time with us. Thanks, Joel.
Thank you.
Pretty interesting stuff. 5:50, Drive Time. Coming back in just a minute.
This is Drive Time with DeRusha on News Talk 830 WCCO.
When things go wrong, I want you to have the best insurance coverage possible. I'm sure we all want that for our homes, for our families, for our cars. It's Jason here for the Canopy Group. The Canopy Group is my insurance team. I think of them as my team because they're different than the regular insurance agency that almost everybody has in Minnesota, where you have one agent and you have one insurance company, and that's it. At the Canopy Group, whenever I've needed something, I can call Kyle, but I can call anybody at the Canopy Group. 50 professionals representing 16 companies, but really they're all representing you. That's the difference with the Canopy Group. When you reach out, and you can go online right now, thecanopygroup.com, click the big red button, get started on getting a quote. It doesn't take that long. Or you can call 800-967-3389. But the Canopy Group will run your scenario through 16 different companies. They're going to get you the best deal, the best coverage at the best price. They did it for me. They saved my family $800 the first year on our home and auto insurance. So what are you waiting for? Get that quote today. Do it at thecanopygroup.com.
Man, I love this place. I've been surfing here since I was a kid. Now, seeing my grandson out on the water, it means everything to me. Watching him and taking in the blue waves, the sea breeze, the blurry horizon.
If you have geographic atrophy, or GA, subtle changes in vision could mean it's progressing toward irreversible vision loss. Izervay is proven to slow GA progression and could help preserve your vision for longer, so you may keep seeing the world around you. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is an eye injection. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may cause blood in the white of the eye, blurred vision, or a temporary increase in eye pressure. Do not drive or use machinery until vision has recovered after an eye injection or exam. Ask your retina specialist how you can slow your GA with Izervay. To learn more, call 1-855-IZERVAY or go to izervay.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Sometimes historic events suck. But what shouldn't suck is learning about history. I do that through storytelling. History That Doesn't Suck is a chart-topping history-telling podcast, chronicling the epic story of America, decade by decade, from the 18th century to the 20th. Original music and immersive sound design accompany us on our storytelling journey. Listen to and follow History That Doesn't Suck, an Odyssey podcast, available now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Summer is here and you need more room for your kids or grandkids and all their stuff. It's Jason DeRusha for Luther Kia of Bloomington. We're in the middle of the summer sticker sales event. 0% on all Sportages and Sorrentos. Specially marked vehicles have $750 bonus cash too. Best cars for the money on the market. It's not just me saying it. It's U.S. News and World Report. Check out their brand new facility. Luther Kia of Bloomington, now open at 35W and 494. Luther Kia of Bloomington. Bloomington.com.
Time to find out how it's moving on the roads and what's moving in via the skies. This is traffic and weather together on CCO, starting with a check of the commute.
An injury crash working for North 169 Anderson Lakes Parkway. The activity off to both sides of the highway. Traffic is jammed up as you come across the river bridge. Update is brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. The bypass is in place for both directions now for 35E, the area of Shepherd Road. Northbound now jammed up as you come up from Highway 62, TAC 10 on the ride there. Attention motorists, Laguna, Minnesota wants you to slow down when driving in construction zones. You're now entering their work zone where they are building a better Minnesota for you. So please slow down when you see the orange cones and yellow vests and save lives. Brought to you by Laguna, Minnesota. Visit buildthenorth.com. Jerry Peterson, News Talk 830 WCCO.
Hungry? Go to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan for real Texas barbecue. All meats smoked fresh in-house daily. You can dine in, take out, have it delivered, or have your event catered anywhere in the metro. Just go to Dickeys.com. Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan, the Twin Cities catering leader.
Now, the latest conditions and the outlook for the next few days with your CCO forecast.
All right, forecast. Thank you to Dickey's Barbecue Pit of Egan at Dickeys.com. Tonight, enjoy it. Low of 67. Everybody get outside tonight. It's nice. Low of 67 tomorrow. 87 is the high. A little more humid. Saturday, 90. We're going to be kissing 100 degrees over the next week. Average high is 84. That's where we're at on CCO.
You're listening to Drive Time with DeRusha.
He's known for the slow burn. He wanted to keep it organic, and I'm still begging for it. More controversy.
On News Talk 830 WCCO.
All right, you're just about 5 minutes away from Steve Thompson, filling in for Henry Lake, so looking forward to that. Tonight, as you're out on the back patio, bring the old radio with you and hang out with Stevie T tonight. Continental Diamond time check. It's 5:56. Time to get over to Continental Diamond in St. Louis Park. Their pre-owned luxury timepiece collection. Do you call it a luxury timepiece? What is the price point where instead of calling it a watch, you call it a timepiece? What do you think that dividing line is?
I'll go back to the Don Shelby term, 2G.
2G.
Anything over 2G
is a
luxury timepiece.
It's a luxury timepiece. Today I'm wearing what? This may be a luxury timepiece.
There you go.
Yeah. Tudor. Beautiful Tudor. Lots of good stuff on a only slightly abbreviated show today. Twins were right in this until they weren't, Dan. That's the thing about
That's kind of how that works. Yeah.
Yeah, let me tell you.
Right in it, and not so much. But you know what? They've won 2 series in a row, 4 out of their last 6 games. They're doing all right. And they got the Angels coming to town. The Angels are awful. So
2.5 games out. Crazy.
They're in it.
Byron's on the disabled list again.
Yeah, super bummer. He's going to miss the All-Star game. That stinks for him.
It does, because he was such an inspirational part of the All-Star game last year. That's for sure. Have a great day. We'd love it if you'd subscribe to our podcast or check out our videos on our YouTube channel. You can find all sorts of videos, including shorts, at youtube.com/WCCO radio.
All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
It is sunny. It is summer. It is time to think about taking care of your skin. Jason here for my friends at Tureen Dermatology. My wife was actually just over at Tureen today in Roseville. And that's where my family goes. Both my sons, my mother-in-law, my sister-in-law, Alyssa and I all go see Dr. Bohiba Tureen. The reason is clear. We have family histories of skin cancer, and heredity can be a big predictor. But also, Minnesotans love the sun. And in fact, I just read a story today that young people are spending more time outside trying to tan. Tanning beds are back. Oh, talk to your dermatologist before you do any of that nonsense, because a lot of us in our 40s, 50s, and 60s are getting the damage from that corrected. You can get that damage worked on by visiting Tureen Dermatology, TAREEN dermatology.com.
Maybe you've been thinking about selling your home, but all the work